Hey, everybody. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a minute early today. Amazing, because I just got in from walking the dog. It is insanely nice here in New Jersey. Uh, yeah, like beyond nice. It's I have the windows open. It's warm outside. We had a couple of unseasonably warm days this week, and then sorry, my hair is kind of bothering me because I just washed it and I can see it frizzing up. We had unseasonably warm days this week. And then Friday, it rained. It was warmer. Or Thursday, it rained. It was warmer. And then Friday, I woke up. It wasn't raining, but it was 31 degrees outside. It was horrible. And then yesterday, it poured all day. And then I woke up this morning and it was sunny and it was warm. And I couldn't believe how great it was. So, anyway, I have the windows open. I'm wearing the No Pattern Left Behind t-shirt. And hey, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me this week. So, what did I work on this week? This week I worked on the patterns that I purchased from the woman who, the Facebook Marketplace deal. Not the aprons, that was a different woman. By the way, already sold one of those aprons, so I've already made my money back on that particular transaction. But let's hope I do better with this one, because I got to tell you, this wasn't a good deal. But before we get to that, let's talk about my Goodwill haul this week. So, okay, this is the box that I got at Goodwill. You can see what I paid full price. And sitting on top of it were these buttons, right? So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is a whole box of, buttons on cards. And there's a set of 3 of these. So these were kind of cool. These are shirt buttons. These would be for your upper collar or your sleeve. And then these are for the front of your. So I thought, it's buttons on cards. It wasn't buttons on cards. It was, let me see if I can get one out. It was this stuff. It was the extra buttons that come with your garments. And I got to tell you, some of them were vintage. Also, some really interesting tags, including there were a couple in here that were just so crazy. I saved them. I know it's a weird thing, but I'm thinking I might throw them up on Etsy, only because I think there might be people who would use these for some type of I don't know, maybe fashion junk journaling, maybe. But I got to show you this one because that's how old I am. That's how old I am. I will show you this one if I can find it. Oh, and there was stuff like this. Look how old that is. That's so 80s, right? And I thought somebody might like these, but let me see if I can get a close-up of this for you guys. Okay. Can you see what that says? Okay. So if you're, hi, Olivia. Oh, very windy, Iowa. I'm sorry. It's warm and sunny here in Jersey. So I found this with a button attached to it. And it was just like a really basic kind of brown button, right? But that's how old this is. Banana Republic, back in the day, back in the olden days, used to do khakis, safari type stuff, cargo pants. I mean, still does some of that stuff, but it's not its brand, shall we say, anymore. I mean, when I was still working in the office, I was getting Banana Republic clothing because they had talls, and I was getting dresses and skirts and blouses to wear in an office. So, but I thought that was crazy. So I'm going to put those up online. I don't know who would want them, but I was thinking, they're kind of cool. They're kind of weird. I'll put them up online. Somebody will use them. I'm thinking junk journaling, really. So I got all of those buttons that I showed you in the video. Plus, oh wait, there was a button that hit the floor that I forgot to get. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Oh, sorry. The plastic's not helping. Let me get it out of the little plastic bag. Oh, these little dime bags, I'm telling you. Come on. There we go. And so it is just I don't know if you guys can see that. It's just a blue button. So that was one of the many extra buttons. And then, like I said, I had this set of 3 of these buttons on cards. So there was also this wonderfulness from the 70s. I mean, right? And it's a remnant. It's a special remnant. It says that it's 100% polyester. I couldn't pass this up. I was just like, I'll never wear it, right? It's too 70s, too crazy, too busy. But I just couldn't leave it behind. I was like, I have to get this. So the deal that I did with Facebook Marketplace with that woman did not turn out to be a very good deal. And I'll tell you why. I've already told you that she kind of fibbed about the patterns. What she also didn't tell me is that now this woman was fairly petite. When I was there speaking to her, she was fairly petite. And what she didn't tell me was that she had altered all of her patterns using tape. Oh, you went to St. Louis yesterday? Whoa, no way. A vintage Necky. Oh my God, they're a very good sewing machine. By the way, for those you don't know, Necky, which is spelled Necchi, is an Italian model of sewing machine. They mostly produced industrial machines, but they did produce sewing machines for home sewists, and they're very good machines. And they're workhorses. They last forever. Yeah. So you got one for $5. So I have to high five to you because that was quite a score. That's a serious score. So good for you, Olivia. So anyway, this woman, she kind of fibbed. So first, let's take a look at the patterns that I don't know what I'm going to do with them because they're basically a pattern that even though it had several styles, she had altered all of the pieces. So they're kind of wounded birds because they all have tape stuck to them. You can't take them. And what she did was she folded the pattern pieces and taped them. But you can't unfold them because you rip the tissue, right? So let's look at those first. Let's see, there's a whole bunch of them here. I'll get through them. And then we will take a look at the other patterns. So yeah, it was quite a week because I was like, what am I going to do with these? So I think what I'm going to do, because you'll see a theme. I think I'm going to put them all together as a lot, or put them all together and sew them really cheap and sell them really cheap, kind of as wounded birds. So here's the first one. So what she would do is the sleeves and the skirts. She would fold them up in two different spots. The skirts she would fold up in two different spots, about 2 inches, and she would tape them. So there's nothing I can do with these. And she did the same with the sleeves. Again, nothing I can do with them. These don't have any line drawings. This one doesn't have any line drawings, by the way. So it's a super cute dress, but you'll see a theme. It's these long dresses, which made me kind of question, why would you buy the design that's a super long dress if you're petite? And she was petite. She was maybe 5'4". This is another one. This is so cute, but she altered it so much. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So I haven't made a decision yet. This one does have some line drawings, but same thing. Like this one here where it's long and got a sleeve. She would fold this in two places, bottom and top, and use tape to make it shorter. And then she'd fold the sleeve and she'd do the same thing. She also, not great at cutting out her patterns, which I understand because I'm not either, but didn't take good care of them. Several of these were just balled up and stuffed into an envelope. And when I pulled them out, thinking they were going to be like in horrible shape, they weren't necessarily in horrible shape. That's not how you put your patterns away, right? We know this, right? We know, but that's not how you put your patterns away, right? Yeah, is that the one? Is it 58? Yeah, this one. I know. Look how cute that is. I mean, someone could still use it, especially if you're petite and you wanted it to be shorter. Like that is the thing about these. This is that 90s style of the very long skirt. So if you wanted to update this and you wanted to just make like a knee length version of this, you're okay because, This was actually the biggest problem. This one here, because it's pants, she had shortened them a lot. And again, now the legs of the pants are, not much you can do with them in this jumpsuit. So I don't know. Still thinking about it. This one, same thing. You could do it as a short skirt, but I think what she was attempting to do was make the fuller, longer skirt just a little bit shorter. Because she was petite. I don't know. So I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but okay. So the rest of these patterns were actually in pretty good shape. Not horrible. Some of them she did something similar with it, but she only did like maybe, like I'll show you, there's one in here that's a skirt, and she only made one skirt. So she only did that to one skirt. The other skirt she never cut. So it's still in there in factory folded. By the way, I found this in one of those patterns. I can't remember which one. So this was what I found inside a pattern this week. So this one, she simply cut down to the shirt length. So that was nice because she didn't tape it. She just cut it. And she saved the pieces she cut down, which that's not a problem. Like if people do that, that's not a big deal because someone can go back in and they can just simply pin them where the lines meet. They can just pin them onto the fabric and you cut it out. It's all good, This one she made, I think she made, no, it was this one with the bow. That one with the bow. So these other ones that are like Thanx, she never made them. So those pieces were still unused. That wasn't too bad. Same with this jacket. This was one of the ones she had balled up and it was like, why are you doing that? And this literally had, I don't know, like 27 pieces. She made one of the jackets. I think she made this one. But the problem was she balled up the pattern. And look, I get that they're your patterns. I get that she can do whatever she wants with her patterns. But if you're a person that sews, don't ball up your patterns and shove them in an envelope. That's just not, Yes, this is the woman who said that she had all these uncut patterns and they turned out to be partially cut. Yeah. So kind of a problem. But then here's the skirt that I was talking about. The long skirt, she had done that thing where she had taken it and she had taped it and shortened it. But she never touched the pieces for that midi, that it's really a knee length skirt. She never even cut them out. So they're still in there. They're still factory folded. So that wasn't too bad. I mean, something like that I can definitely sell. Someone comes in and their size, what was this? Yeah, this is a 4-6-8 pattern. So if you're size 4 and you were looking for an inexpensive, knee length skirt, I got your pattern. And this is a fairly easy one. It's a 2-hour pattern, but this is a bias cut. This is not a difficult skirt to make. Oh, and then there was this. Okay. So I was so excited when I saw this. This one, she didn't do too much of an alteration on, but she did cut up, she did this one, the one that Brooke Shields is actually wearing. She made that one, but she didn't make the ones that have the turtleneck or the hoodie. So that was cool. All of those pieces were still in there and that's really cool. Stuff like that sells really well. And then there was the new look. Yeah, this is a very basic pattern. She did make this yellow one over here and this red one in the center, but she didn't do these other ones on the side. These tank ones are different pieces. So she never made those. So that was good. So she didn't alter them. She just cut them out. See, that's the thing. If a pattern's just cut, that's fine. I mean, if it's a vintage pattern, especially, people don't care if it's cut as long as it's cut well. It's when you start like taping and altering. And even if you alter it by cutting off, like cutting the skirt shorter, how all the patterns have like shortened here and you can just cut it. It's a line. That's fine. Just include the pieces because then somebody else can make it in the future and they can make it at the longer length. Wow. Right. I know. I think this might be from the 80s. Why do I think that? Oh, I don't know. Giant earrings, big hair, just little stuff like that. She had made this is cut and counted. She had made the fuller skirt view. I think it's view B. Yeah, view B. And, but it was in pretty good shape. And then, this one, gosh, I wish this one was uncut. I know, right? So 80s. Drop waist sundress, very 80s. This one's just cut and counted. She didn't do the tape thing with this. She just cut it out and made it. So it's in good shape. And I think she cut it out to, yeah, size 6. So, oh, this one was so weird. I was working on this one this morning. This one really threw me. So she cut out this, right? The dress. But I don't think she ever actually made it. You know how sometimes you cut out the pattern, but you end up not making it. So you just fold it up and you put it back in, but it's now cut from the big tissue, right? And so it's like, well, did she make it? But I was looking at it this morning and I was like looking at it and ironing it, and I didn't see any pinholes. I don't think she ever actually made it. So I just listed it as unused, and she did not make that duster at all. So it is the skirt and the duster, and the dress and the duster, and she had cut out the dress, but it really didn't look like she ever used it. Hi, Marie. This one, same thing. She cut out one view. She actually cut out this chartreusey orangey. There we go. This one. But this had multiple pieces. So she cut out one view, and then the rest of it was completely uncut in there. This one, same thing. She did this view here, actually, the one that's the photo. And she cut it out. She did the shirt only, and everything else is still in there, still factory folded. And that I love because, I can sell a partially cut pattern. I can even sell a cut and counted pattern. I can't sell a pattern that you altered with tape. Or remember a couple of Mrs. Landis's patterns, I showed them to you where she had actually sewn through the tissue. I've never seen that. I didn't know the tissue was that strong. This one, she made this. Whoop, there we go. Where's my finger? There we go. The short version. The dress is uncut, but unfortunately she altered the sides again with tape. So I don't know if you really can make the dress, but I'm hoping you can. Hoping. This one, here's another one. She made this one here, this floral romper jumper thing. And that was it. And there were lots of pieces in there that were never used and were uncut. The Cynthia Raleigh one. Okay, this is Cynthia Raleigh. So she made the view, view E, the white one, right? And then all the other pieces are still in there. And this one here, that top is a stretch knit. So you're combining like a t-shirt material top with a skirt in like a rayon fabric, which I remember having a dress like that. I remember having actually several dresses like that. And that's very obviously from the 90s. Yes, it is. This was another one. This was actually a great score. She only ever made these, where are they? Pajama pants. It's the only thing she cut out. Everything else in here, uncut, still folded. And the pajama pants, actually, she just shortened. She didn't really do much with them. Yeah. Well, it's funny to me that like some of this stuff, I don't know if you guys are noticing. I'm sure you are, because I can't be the only one. I'm a Gen Xer, and I'm starting to see a lot of the clothes that we wore in the 90s coming back around. Like I'm seeing stuff like that. I'll go into Target and I'm like, wait a minute. I remember that outfit. I had it, including, I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but do you remember the sunflower print that was on everything? It was either like sunflowers on black or sunflowers on navy. And it was all these different bright yellow sunflowers. Yes, right? Remember that? It was like everywhere, right? I saw it on like a romper thing at Walmart, like literally like a couple days ago when I went to buy dog food. Like, I'm not kidding you. So it's all coming back around, which it always does, right? It always does. So, this was interesting. This is, can you see that name? A Jessica McClintock. And it is a suit with a camisole. She only ever cut out that camisole. It was in very good shape. She didn't alter it. So Yeah, some Jessica McClintock. Oh my gosh. So this is the most 80s pattern of all of the patterns in here. Yeah, right. I know. And look, guys, it's got a vest. Because so far we've only had one other vest pattern. But, there's always a vest pattern lurking with my patterns, right? Yeah. You're right, Olivia. This is totally the 80s uniform. I don't know why we wanted the shirts so big back then. I just remember that we were always all drowning in our shirts, right? They were always kind of big. Regardless of what size you were, your shirt was huge. And the sweaters. Remember the sweaters were all like really big. You could pull them down to like your knees, right? Crazy. This is a super cute pattern. This is another one. Multiple views and multiple pieces to make those views. So she made this one, the red gingham, and everything else was still folded. She had never used them. So pretty happy about that. This one, she had made, I believe it was the pink one over here with the ruffles. And again, all the pieces were folded. And what was I just talking about? Oh, yeah, vests, because we loved a vest back in the 80s and 90s. Look at this one. You can have 6 different styles of vest. Again, she only made, I think she made this one. And so every piece she didn't use is still in there, still factory folded. So that was good. And then this one, she made both views of this dress, which is kind of sad because I was really excited, hoping she had not made both these dresses, but she had, and she had shortened them, which is fine. She made this view here. But how cute is this, right? Very cottagecore. That's another thing, like we've talked about it before. Those, those 1 hour taps are great basics, aren't they? I thought so too. I really like them. I really wish these were like in my size, because these kind of never go out of style. These like peasant-y tops, especially you always see them roll around in the summer. They get kind of reinvented, right? So look how cute this is. And we've talked about cottagecore before, right? And it's so funny, but like the cottagecore stuff is all really reminds me of like the 70s Laura Ashley trend, even the early 80s, the Jessica McClintock, the Gunny Sacks. So it's kind of funny, all the stuff always comes around. Yeah, I just found out what Whimsy Goth is. Marie's talking about Whimsy Goth for those of you that aren't able to read this. I didn't know what Whimsy Goth was. I didn't even know what cottagecore was maybe 2 years ago. I just found out what cottagecore was. And then I didn't know what Whimsy Goth was, right? But you're right. Now, here's the funny thing. I remember back in the 80s, there was goth, right? And those were the girls and they did wear lacy stuff, but everything was black, right? Everything was black all the time. There was no, once in a while, there would maybe be some red or some purple, and that was it. It was all black. But then there was we used to call them the New Romantics, and they wore all this. Let me see if I have something that's New Romantic. Not really, but let me see. Like this kind of stuff. This was kind of New Romantic stuff, right? Like everything was very like poet style blouses and pirate style blouses and peasant tops and flowy skirts. But their trend was like it's cottagecore. Cottagecore with fairies. It's exactly what it is, right? And then let me tell you a little bit about an interesting conversation I had. I told you about my friend Lisa, who was looking for the halter top patterns. She owns a vintage clothing store. And she's been saying like, business has been kind of slow lately. And she was really hoping that it would pick up because we're going to prom season, which I think it will for her. We just need a little more time, because she sells a lot of super cool, like 70s gowns and even 80s gowns. And the younger girls like these and they wear them to prom. But I was telling her the sad thing is when I went to high school, raise your hand if you're with me, you had your kind of like camps, right? So I was in like the kind of new wave camp. So I had outfits like, I mean, it's crazy, but I still remember my favorite outfits. I had an outfit that was a olive colored cotton mini skirt, and I had a t-shirt that was what black and white tiger stripe. And then I used to wear it with a red belt and red shoes. I was very new wave. And then we had punks. A lot of the boys were punks, the leather and the whole thing. We had the kind of more romantics. We had the girls that wore these very like flowy drop waist kind of stuff like that. We had the stoner dudes. They always wore like black with a band t-shirt, usually also black. Um, Doc Martens, but the punk guys wore Doc Martens. Sometimes the stoner guys would wear like the engineer boots, do you know, or the motorcycle boots, you know, stuff like that. We had a couple, we only had one or two girls that were goth, but we had a couple goth girls and they just basically wore black. Everything was black and they wore longer stuff than we did. Like I wore mini skirts. And I mean, I had stuff like I had a pair of pants that was like electric blue. And I used to wear it with an Esprit de Corps, one of my favorite shirts of all times. It was this, it was a Hawaiian shirt with a black background, but it had giant red hibiscus flowers on it. And the middle of them was yellow. And it was the coolest shirt ever. Right. Okay. And we're talking, I graduated in 1983. Kids now, when I watch them get off the bus, my own kids too, and like the kids, you know, getting off other buses, their uniform, because we didn't really have a uniform. We had camps, right? You had style camps. You didn't have uniforms. Is either leggings, like a yoga pant kind of leggings, or pajama bottoms, a hoodie. I saw a girl pretty recently that had like a fleece blanket with Lilo and Stitch on it over her head, and she was wearing a hoodie and a pair of leggings. And they wear these Uggs slippers, and a lot of them wear these. They're called like cloud slides. They are literally the ugliest thing I've ever seen. They're even uglier than Crocs, which I didn't think was possible. I didn't think anybody could create a shoe that was uglier than Crocs, right? Yeah. Yeah, do you know what I'm talking? Yeah, Olivia, if you see any like even kids in your neighborhood or like when you go out and I'm like at Walmart and I see kids with their parents, I'm like, and here's the thing. High school is the best time to experiment with your look. You're the thinnest and best looking, let's face it, you're ever going to be, right? Come on. You have the best body you're ever going to have. So it's the time to like wear a mini skirt or wear a super long, flowy skirt if that's what you're into. Like it just to me, I'm like, how come you guys aren't like experimenting, like have fun with the way you dress? Because that's the thing. I get that they're comfortable, but the problem is they just look depressed. They don't even look comfortable. They just look depressed, you know? I know they copy each other and it's so crazy. Now, see, you homeschool and your kids dress up to leave the house, which is interesting to me because I've always wondered about that. Because, I mean, I could see if you homeschooled and you like did your morning lessons in your PJs. That makes sense to me. But leaving the house in your PJs and going to high school doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And, you know, I have to be honest, I don't want to shame anybody, but there's a girl on my bus and I'm trying to think of a nice way to put this. There's a girl on my bus that lives in a house that has two adults living in it, but no actual parents. And there's definitely some issues in this house. She's got a brother who has Down syndrome, and I know there's issues in this house because I've been told to be careful for certain things because there's, you know, issues in this house. She wears these little, like they're like a bralette, they're like a tank top, but they cut under here. And she wears like tights and boots, and then these like shorty overalls, and she flips the bib down of the shorty overalls. She's very exposed up here. And it just, you know, and I don't mean to slut shame her, but the problem is the attention she's getting is not the best attention. you know, and, yes. And Marie, I know exactly what you're talking about. Um, yeah. Now, and here's the funny thing. I see this really gradually because my elementary school kids, obviously their moms are still, they come in, they have these super cute outfits and things are coordinated and their hair is put up and they have little bows and stuff in their hair, right? Then we get into junior high and they increasingly get, for lack of a better word, they get more sloppy. I mean, because they just look sloppy. They don't look, I get that they're comfortable, but is really, are jeans and like a shirt that uncomfortable that you can't put on jeans and no shirt? Like, I just, oh, I know. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. But anyway, so I digress. So in this haul, I hate to keep talking about this subject because the only thing I can ever think of is, I think it was the first Legally Blonde where they were interviewing Elle about what she considers like one of the biggest problems in the world, and she said it was the general casualization of appropriate attire or something to that effect. Basically, she was saying that like people dress too casually now, and I was like, I agree with her. So in this haul, there were also some dupes. Now, dupes are, here's my rule about dupes. If I have two patterns, if I have two of the same pattern, right? One is uncut and one is cut. The uncut one goes online and the one that's cut goes someplace else. It goes and sits on the sidelines until the one that's cut is sold. So I know you guys this one looks familiar. This is a great pattern too, because she only made the tank dress. She made, I think she made the black one or the purple one. And the rest of the pieces for the more t-shirt style are still uncut in there. So that was kind of cool. But I already have this one and I have it uncut. So this is a dupe. This one, didn't realize I had it. It's also a dupe. This one, she only made the skirt. And it's funny. Can you see all of her notes on it? She only made the skirt. So this is another one. I have this uncut. So when the uncut one sells, this dupe will go up. And last but not least, there's another one. Didn't think I had this one, but I did. So this one, she cut only the floral one in the middle, the baby doll dress. That was the only one that she cut. So, and it's a dupe. I have the uncut version online. So when they sell, the dupes will go up. And that was it. Yeah, that was it. That was a very quick show. By the way, I saved all of these. I saved all of these extra button, I don't, holders, I guess you would call them, envelopes. I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet, but I keep thinking they're a really good way to actually package buttons that I sell, so. Yeah, they are really nice bakes. I was very happy to see this. I had a slip dress very similar to this I actually wore it to my 20-year high school reunion. It would have been like view C. Now, keep in mind, my 20-year high school reunion was literally 21 years ago. And I was, God, what did I weigh back then? I don't even know. I was less than 200 pounds. I'll put it to you that way. And I wore that to my high school reunion. I had a blast. I looked great. My friend went with me. She looked great. We all looked great. Yeah, I know. But these are making a comeback. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I've started to see these in both the baby doll style and the non-baby doll style. These just the basic slip dress. So, and we've talked about it before. I think last week we were talking about one where you wore the t-shirt under it and there was a slip dress. And we all had that in the 90s. It was like, I think you had to have that in the 90s. They took away your Gen X card if you didn't have that outfit. So I think I'm going to take next weekend off, and I'll tell you why. I want to work on more of the Mrs. Landis patterns that are vintage. When, as I told you guys, when I was looking for the halter tops for Lisa, the patterns for halter tops for Lisa, I found all these patterns that I thought, oh, I should work on this pattern. It's older. It looks like it's in bad shape. I should try and save it. So I think I'm going to do that. but I don't have a lot of them, and that kind of stuff takes me a lot longer. And since, I mean, we're at 35 minutes, that's kind of short, even for me. Um, it's just not going to be a lot to talk about. But if I skip a week, if I skip a Sunday, I'll be able to come back and talk to you guys and have like a lot more stuff to show you. So I think I'm going to do that. So until next week, I hope wherever you guys are, it's nice. It's lovely here. I did find out it's going to rain tomorrow, so it's not going to be lovely tomorrow. So I better be very happy with it today. And until next week, sorry, I'm trying to figure out what he's doing. Until next week, like, subscribe, comment. Tell me if you had any of these patterns. Always love to hear about that. And until then, I hope wherever you are, you're doing well and that you stay healthy. And I'll see you next week. And thank you for stopping by. Bye.